Hey, 7K, aka Little Lady with the Big Voice in Hood Morning America. First off, shout out to Shay Trendy. Shout out to Nard for having us here at the Hard Nard Studio.
Yes,
We
Lord.
are filming another episode of Hood Morning America. Today I have another recording artist on the show. His name is 59 Kane. I'm gonna let him go ahead and pop his shit before we get into the interview. Let y'all know where y'all can find his music at and all that good stuff.
Okay, now thank you for having me. Real talk, man. I definitely appreciate y'all for, inviting me on the platform. I go by Big 59 Kane, man. OG 59 Kane, however you want to put it. Just make sure the 59 before the Kane. And y'all can find me on every major platform. Instagram 59 Kane, 4 underscores, and just stay tuned in. Got a lot in store for y'all. Just dropped the album called A Bar Baby Way 2, May 28th. Y'all definitely go tap in and check that out. Trick video just came out, man. It's a single off the album, so y'all go tap into that as well. So we're gonna get into the juice of it real soon.
Right. We're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of everything.
Yes,
where you
Lord.
from, how long you been doing this. But before
Facts.
that, let me give a shout out to my first person that brought me some merchandise.
Oh, that's
Yes,
fine.
Lord.
Look at that. Favorite colors and everything.
Yes,
We got
Lord.
some pink. We got some yellow. Y'all know I'm gonna be rocking this at the next event.
Oh, baby.
I love to support everybody that brings me stuff. So
Yes,
thank you.
Lord. You welcome. And make sure y'all tap into 59kane.com for exclusive merch. Everything y'all need from hoodies, hats, sweaters, swim trunks, whatever,
Not the swim
windbreakers.
trunks.
Yeah,
I need some
leggings,
swim
everything. We got it all.
Bet. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, let's break it down, starting at the very basics before we get into some other stuff.
Okay.
So where are you from?
I'm originally from Madison, Illinois. It's like maybe 15 minutes from St. Louis, 10 minutes from East St. Louis.
Okay.
So it's a little small little city that's you'll look over, but it's one of them cities that's rough. Real talk is rough. It's probably like maybe 6,000 people in the city itself, but we got a whole bunch of little sub areas around like Madison, Venice, Brooklyn, Newport. Then we got East St. Louis.
Oh, all the subdivisions
Yeah,
and stuff
so-
that surround you.
All of them just all of
Make up one big.
Man.
So is it really diverse since it's like, are all the subdivisions
Yeah,
kind of on some different shit? Or
Nah, it's just really it's gang affiliated. When you talking about diverse, it's an area called Granite City. That's the prominent like upscale like other colored people area.
Right.
Some areas of Granite City, our kind just not allowed to go. You feel me? And we don't mind not going over there. You feel me? Ain't nothing for us to do anyway.
Right.
But those little 4 areas that make up the little Metro East, including East St. Louis, it's crazy where I come from for real. So it was a blessing for me to be able to make it out when I did and come to another city and be able to spread my wings.
I like that. So is that why you chose to leave?
Yeah, I left St. Louis in 2020. Man, there was a lot going on there. Real talk, it was a lot, and I was thinking about my daughter and the future of her, and my dad having 15 kids and not being able to fully be in their life the way he wanted to.
Right.
So I was like, I ain't gonna be able to give up the whole lifestyle that I live, but I know I can sacrifice a lot of things to make sure I'm closer to my daughter and make sure my daughter can continue to have a father. So that was another reason why I made the jump.
That's understandable. So how long have you been rapping?
I've been rapping for like 15, 16 years. Really been taking it serious like the last 7. That's when a lot of things has really been starting to hit me in the face. Like, yo, bro, you got it. Little buzz started being created, shows and everything just started happening for me in St. Louis real fast. So I took hold to it and I, kept the wave going and started the Bar Baby Challenge. And the Bar Baby Challenge was just really a bunch of MCs battling it out on a friendly competition level. No beef, but it got intense. Everybody got an ego, especially when it comes to men and pride. So I started that gained a lot of traction and attention, and before I knew it, 59 Kane was a name to be talked about in my area.
That's dope. So you talked about how kind of rough your area was.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what was the inspiration? Like, where was the positivity, the inspiration of your music? Where did that come from?
A lot of the inspiration from my music really came from a lot of the stuff I went through as a kid that I wasn't allowed to talk about because I had to stand the kid's place.
Right. So you put it in your
Yeah,
songs.
so once I got old enough to really formulate and put words together to express my feelings, without talking back to my parents or giving my grandmother a hard time, I just started really just taking those scenarios and situations and putting them into the music and hoping that somebody going through the same thing can relate, from my daddy being a trapper to my mama being a booster to everything I seen, living with my granny most of my life, losing my grandma, losing my daddy. Like, it was a lot, and I just had to find a way to cope with that energy and put it somewhere positive. 'Cause
Right.
I was doing a whole bunch of crazy shit when I was young. Like, for no reason. Like, for no reason. Like, it was just, I was product of my environment. Real talk. My daddy was in the streets. My mama was in the streets. All my siblings was in the streets. That's all I knew was to, take after them. But I ended up going down doing a bid, and I was like, you know what, this ain't for me. Like, I don't know how anybody can like being in jail. Like, that just ain't for me. I can jail it if I have to. It wasn't no problem. It's nothing for me to do there with me being a productive person. Like,
shit, I can't. I was like, get me out of here now.
Yeah, you feel me? So
jail is not for me.
I went down for like 2.5, did my little pinch, came home and was just like, nah, I gotta do for my daughter. I had a little girl at that time, and I was like, she need her dad. Like, I can't take care of her fully inside of no cell, and I definitely can't take care of her in no casket. So I got up out of there and just started doing something different. And my music was the only thing I had left to express myself, back to what you were saying, so I put a lot of that into the music.
Right, so it's like an outlet, like your music is like your diary. A lot of black men feel like they can't talk to anybody about people, about anything, and so a lot of people put it in their music.
Yeah, and man, it's hard to open up to a lot of people because it be hidden agendas. People, my mom used to tell me, son, sometimes a listener ears a running mouth. And I took heed of that because I started seeing it from my friends and my family members, and I was like, let me just tell somebody something just to see if it's gonna get back to somebody else. And I'm gonna still warn the person that I'm saying about, like, hey, look, if some information comes, I want to see who the leak is, and just to test the loyalty of people. And that's when I really found out, like, you just can't talk to everybody.
You hear your business from somebody that you didn't tell it to.
Facts. And people prey on your downfall. You tell people your business ideas, they try to take it and run off with it. Like, people just don't want to see you win or just want to see you emotionally in a good place. Everybody just want to see you down.
So outside of family, like, who do you have? What is your support system?
I got my mom. My daughter, little do she know, she 4, she'll be 5. She like major part of my support system. Like, she'll tell me, Daddy, don't worry about it in a heartbeat. And she don't even know what I'm worried about, you feel me? So that makes it all worth the more to be able to tell my story and share it with the world. I got 15 siblings, so I got a big support system back home. But here, got an auntie here. Most of my mom's side of the family from Texas anyway. So I just, really just rely on myself. I don't ask people for too much. I've been independent and on my own since I was 17. And, ain't nobody really show out for me until my shit start blowing up. And now I got all these family members.
And that sucks that it is that way, but sometimes that's like the fuel to the fire, knowing that you don't have a lot of people motivating you, so you got to go hard, because if you don't go hard, ain't nobody else going to go hard for you.
Real talk. And that's just how it is now. It's like, I'm the breadwinner. Everybody called Kane for some.
Yep.
My mama, or your sister, you got to do this, or your cousin. Like, it is what it is. I told him, just because I moved to Texas don't mean I moved to $1 million home. But I still got to do what I got to do for mom.
Yeah, but that's make or break, and that shows that you just because you left, you didn't forget responsibilities, and you didn't forget about home.
Yeah, so that forget about family.
That shows a lot about you. So we're gonna talk about a little bit more about your music. I know everybody hates to be compared to somebody, but at the same time, there's always somebody like, man, that nigga sound like so and so.
Yeah, facts.
So who do people say you sound like the most? Whether it's mainstream, whether it's somebody down the street, who do they compare your music to?
I don't know. It'd be hard to, for real, put me in a box. Because, like, I rap, I sing, I do a little bit of everything. Like,
I heard
rock
you
and
singing.
roll,
I heard you singing a while ago.
Country, like, some of everything. So, a lot of comparisons just be all over the place. I can't even just sit and try to pinpoint one. I ain't gonna even lie to you, because it's like, it be all over the place. And I don't be wanting to, like, put that in my head that somebody else look at me or hear my sound and think of somebody else. But that made me want to go back and try to change up some shit. Yeah.
So, follow-up question, because I kind of knew that was going to be your answer. Your musical inspiration, who did you grow up listening to? Whether it was all hip-hop, whether it was country, who did you listen to growing up?
When I grew up, I was listening to Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, and the Pips, the Miracles, Smokey Robinson, the Temptations. Yeah, I grew up with my grandmother and my grandfather, so I listened to the best of the 70s and 80s oldies going into the 90s new rap.
That's dope.
Ice Cube, NWA, Ice-T, shit like that, you feel me? I was in that era because my daddy started with the gangster rap shit when I moved back home, so. But before then, it was just all R&B, soul, real singing groups. Like, that's all we did in my grandma's house. Not really. I like it all.
You like it all?
Yeah, real talk.
Well-rounded.
Anything Motown, for real, I like.
Right. I like that. Okay. So, What do you think has been the hardest thing about being an artist in 2023?
The hardest thing about being an artist in 2023 is taking advantage of all the opportunities. Like some opportunities you're not going to be able to take part in when you're coming from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Because a lot of the funds and a lot of things that a lot of upcoming artists and resources that we need just not relatively available.
Right.
You know, a lot of artists got to search for it. I'm fortunate enough to be able to have some type of stability to where I can take advantage of a lot of opportunities, but that's just been the hardest challenge that I see for myself and a lot of other artists, is just taking advantage of opportunities and staying consistent.
I like to play devil's advocate. So do you think that now that we have so much access to literally anything, like you can look on YouTube, figure out how to be an astronaut.
Facts.
Do you feel like we kind of have a better advantage now? Because back then it was, I have an educational background in this one. Now you can Google how to get yourself on this music platform. You can Google how to make a website. You can Google
Facts.
how to do. You can buy views, like so.
Everything.
You feel me? So do you feel like, in a sense, all it takes is a little bit of knowing how to do some research, and you can kind of put not necessarily be successful overnight, but do you think now that since there's so much different resources that are available, that if we would just use them correctly and not just be on Facebook, that we could figure out how to get this shit done?
Yeah, it's a lot that go in with research and learning. A lot of people don't know how to sit down and really dedicate time to finding out things that you need to know.
Right.
You know, we rather go find the shit out that we don't need to know and leave the shit we need to know just in the blind. Then we'll go ask somebody else how to do the shit when we could have just synced the shit right there for ourselves, you know. So, like, now that we're living in a digital era, it's really easy for a lot of artists to really, like, pop overnight.
Right.
Like, at first, you had to really, like, wait for a motherfucker to really break out.
You out there
Some
with your
artists sat on the
CDs.
label for a long time before they even got a break.
Right.
Like, Bow Wow was signed to a Death Row at 5 years old. He ain't come out with his first studio album until he was 13. And it wasn't even under Death Row, you feel me? So, it's like, back then, it wasn't as easy for artists to get seen and noticed versus today. Like you say, literally go to Google and type in anything you need to know about the music business. One thing I do is just have some time to sit there and read.
And understand what you're looking at.
Understand what you're looking at, real talk. And that's how I learned how to negotiate and look at contracts. I started reading, I started learning, like, shit, hey, I'm not trying to be MC Hammer. Like, those stories and those biopics, that shit really helps me.
Billionaires one day working at the car wash, the next, that's scary. That is a bag fumble.
TLC story.
That is scary.
All those stories, it helped me and motivate me to want to go find information so I won't be, one of those type of statistics. Like, it's just, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy in this generation and era to